When the people who follow you politically are, number one, willing and able to be convinced of anything you tell them, even if it's not true, and number two, willing to do violence, you have to be really careful when you're telling them lies. And this is more true than ever with the modern reactionary right. We might call it the neo-reactionary right. I don't know what to call them because, again, as I've said before, these Trumpists aren't conservative by the traditional definitions. They weren't even really involved in politics, many of them, until Trump came up. They're really a neo-reactionary movement. And the problem is that the people feeding them drivel and pablum have no consideration for whether these folks are going to hear what they say and go and take real-world violent action. And it's already happened. It's already happened, which we're going to talk about in a moment. But this brings us to something that radical Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene recently said. She and some others have gotten on this idea that anybody who supports Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson for the Supreme Court is either a pedophile or is pro-pedophilia. Now, you might say, wait, but David, what? That doesn't make any sense. You'd be right. It doesn't make any sense. But the way they have spun this is Judge Jackson has issued sentences for all sorts of different crimes to all sorts of different people over many years as a judge in on different courts. And sometimes the sentence she gives is not what the state asks for, what the prosecution asks for. Sometimes it's somewhere between what the prosecution asks for and what the defense asks for. And as all judges do, she weighs factors and issues a sentence. And the fact that that happened with some examples of individuals who had explicit images of children, what is sometimes called child porn, although I don't think that's a good term, because porn typically is legal and involving consenting individuals. Child porn is something very different. I've already said that. Sometimes her sentence has departed from the recommendation or what the prosecutors wanted. So they're saying she's pro-pedophile and the people supporting her might be pedophiles themselves. Here is such an example of Marjorie Taylor Greene saying that.
The Democrats are the party of pedophiles. The Democrats are the party of princess predators from Disney. The Democrats are the party of teachers, elementary school teachers trying to transition their elementary school age children and convince them they're a different gender. This is the party of their identity, and their identity is the most disgusting, evil, horrible things happening in our country. And that's why we have to say it. We have to be willing to say it, and no matter how many little blue check marks get their feelings hurt on Twitter. So, it's worth talking.
This is liable to get people killed. Now, why is that? Well, we have a dangerous cult here. We have a dangerous cult that refuses to or is unable to think critically about the things that they're being told. We have a cult that, by a much larger share than independents and Democrats, believes it's okay to use real-world violence to achieve political goals. So they believe things that aren't true, and they're willing to use violence. And this could genuinely lead some of Marjorie Taylor Greene's followers and other Trumpists to go and target Democrats with guns, or even the 3 Republicans who said they'd be voting for Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. Remember, we looked at this on the show a couple days ago. Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted, Murkowski, Collins, and Romney are pro-pedophile. They just voted for KBJ. This is extraordinarily dangerous, and we have examples of it. Remember, there was this one story of the man who was targeting liberals and the Tides Foundation. This is an old story. This is 11 years old. I remember covering this when it happened. Byron Williams told investigators he wanted to start a revolution by killing people of importance at the Tides Foundation and the ACLU. Where did he get that idea? Well, he got it, among others, from Glenn Beck. And he said that when California Highway Patrol pulled him over. We did this story. We have the Pizzagate shooter. Pizzagate gunman, this is from 2017, sentenced to 4 years in prison. This was a guy who became convinced, thanks to what Republicans were saying at the time, that Comet Ping Pong, a pizza shop in DC, was somehow the nexus of some kind of child sex trafficking ring involving Democrats. And I mean, listen, I don't remember exactly all the claims they were making, but it was completely and totally bonkers. There was the pipe bomber, the Trumpist pipe bomber. I don't even remember the date. It was while Donald Trump was president, who was also caught. This is not like maybe it'll happen someday. We know that these types of comments from people like Marjorie Taylor Greene are stochastic terrorism. It's extraordinarily dangerous, and she's going to get people killed. Let me know your thoughts. Find me on Twitter at dpacman, and remember that Tuesday, April 19th, we'll be doing the next David Pakman Show Town Hall. It'll be at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on the Pakman Live YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Pakman Live. We'll take a quick break and be right back. One of our sponsors is Real Paper. Our forests on Earth remove about a quarter of the carbon that humans put into the atmosphere. And yet every day we're cutting down tens of thousands of trees to make single-use paper products. Real Paper is fighting back. Real Paper makes paper products that are truly sustainable. Their paper towels and toilet paper are 100% plastic-free, made without any virgin tree fibers, meaning no new trees are cut down. But Real Paper is super soft and durable. You don't have to sacrifice quality to help the planet. These are great products from a usability standpoint. I'm using Real Paper at home. You can do a one-time purchase. They also have easy subscriptions. All orders ship in 100% recyclable, plastic-free packaging. Everybody needs paper towels and toilet paper. Buy ones that you will feel good about. And they're giving my audience 30% off a subscription when you go to realpaper.com/Pakman and use the code Pakman. The link is down below.